Today, I'm going to show you how to install Linux on a computer. So I've got my computer right here, and the first thing you want to know that unlike macOS or Windows, Linux isn't just one operating system. There's multiple different distributions or distros of Linux. And the way you decide which distro you want is not going to be covered in this video. Some of the most popular ones include Ubuntu, Linux Mint, and Fedora for a more advanced one. For this example, we're just going to be using Linux Mint. Now what you need is a USB drive. It doesn't matter the size as long as it's at least about 8 gigs. 8 gigs should be plenty for most distros. The next thing we're going to need is obviously the computer that we want to install Linux on. And I really do recommend you have multiple hard drives in your computer. If you don't know what that is, I'll explain it real quick. When you have a computer, you can put a different amount of storage drives inside of it. To see that, you'll go to your File Explorer. And as you can see right here, I have my local drive, which is where you have Windows installed on. Windows and all operating systems needs to have a drive that it lives on because it takes up space. All of these images and icons and the way the operating system works needs space. So you have one drive that you have your operating system installed on. And now you have a drive right here with no operating system installed on. And I can just store files in here. Now what you want to have is an additional drive, which I do have in this computer, which is the one that you're going to install Linux on. Because if you try to install it alongside the Windows one, you definitely can, but it's not the easiest process and it could lead to some issues. So they're very inexpensive to get a hard drive. You can go to any electronics shop and ask if they have any recycling, or you can even go to a Goodwill or a thrift shop and sometimes find DVRs or old cable boxes that will have hard drives inside of them that you can pick up for a few dollars. Or if you want a faster, newer hard drive, you can get a tiny little one off Amazon called an M.2 for about $20 depending on how big you want it. But if you just want to install an operating system, about 128 gigs is the minimum you'll need. After you've got all that, you decide on your Linux distro. The first thing we're going to do is go look it up. So you're going to go to the website and we're going to go to the downloads page. And now Linux Mint has these 3 different versions of it. These 2 are a bit lighter, meaning if you have a really, really old computer, like right here for desktops between 2006 and 2011, this might be a bit better. But we're going to use the Cinnamon edition. And so we're going to download it. And now from here, this is all of the different download locations you can get. I would suggest getting the Linux Mint official one right here. And you just click on this and it should automatically start downloading. Now, I've already downloaded it, but here we go again. This will download a .iso file. And you might not be able to see the file extension on your computer, but it's downloading it. I've already downloaded it, so we can just go to our folder. And this is our Linux distro right here. Linux Mint Cinnamon 22.2. The next thing we need is an application called Balena Etcher. This allows you to flash your Linux distro onto the USB drive. So we're going to download it and install it. And now we have it right here. We're going to choose to flash from a file. Find our Linux Mint file right here. And we're going to select the drive that we want to. This is my drive right here, the USB drive. And I'm going to flash it. Now this should take about 5 minutes or so. And you can just wait until it's finished flashing. And then you're ready to go. All right, now it is finished. That took a lot longer than 5 minutes. It will depend on how fast your USB drive is. Mine is a pretty cheap, slow one, so it did take a while. But we are done with that now. We can close this out and close out everything, and it's time to restart our computer. Let's go ahead and power, restart. And you want to make sure you know the key to enter your computer's boot setup. Now, that's going to depend on your brand of computer, but you want to get that first. Make sure you have your USB drive plugged into your computer. And once you see your computer start to boot up again, you want to keep pressing that key to open your boot menu. On mine and on a lot of computers, it's F9, but it could vary. It could be delete, it could be F12, it could be escape. So find that, restart your computer, make sure you have your USB drive in, already flashed. And now that's booting up, I'm gonna press F9. And now it shows all of your different boot options right here. and I'm going to select my USB drive. This is my USB drive right here. The name will be the same as it was when you flashed it in Blana Etcher. And make sure it's the UEFI version. So UEFI vendor code product 2. I don't know what the partition 2 is there. We're just going to go with this one right here and press enter. And now we're going to press enter, and it might take a second. Yep, here we go. We're just going to wait for this to boot up. Now this might look like Linux, but we're actually not having Linux installed on our computer. This is just running off of that little USB flash drive. All the icons and files and apps here are stored on that USB flash drive. So if we turn our computer off and back on again, anything we do in here, any files we make, any things we bookmark will be gone. So what we want to do is double click on this CD that says install Linux Mint. And we're going to install it to a hard drive, and then from then on, every time we open it through that hard drive, everything will be saved. We won't have to use this USB drive. Now you can just keep this USB drive and plug it into something, and if you want to use Linux just temporarily to, say, I don't know, make some files, do something, you can use that, and it won't save anything, but you can use it. But most people like to install it on their computer so that you can continue to use it and keep your settings. Use the default keyboard layout, and you also want to click this thing that says install multimedia codecs. And by default, sometimes it won't play all videos or images and stuff like that, so you want to make sure you click that to install. All right, now this is going to give you the option to install Linux alongside Windows, but we're going to choose to do something else. So we're going to press continue. Now it's going to show us all of our different hard drives here. Now you want to be very careful with this. Okay, so first we select our boot device right here. So we want to, this is a Kingston 1 terabyte, and here's a 2 terabyte, but we want the WD 500 gigabyte. That is our hard drive that we're going to install on. We also want to find it on here. Right here it says dev/SBD. Now we're going to find the there's SBA, dev.sbd. We want to select that right there. And then we're going to select the free space, click the plus button, and we're going to add a partition. And the default settings should be fine. We don't need to change anything right now. Just press OK. And then we're going to, again, go right here to the dev/SBD, and that is their same hard drive. Right here, after you've done that, you want to click change and then choose mount point and just this / right here. It's hard to explain all of what that is, but just do that. Click install now and continue. Now this will erase everything on that hard drive. So make sure you're confirmed good with that. We're gonna select our region, and then you put in your user details, and then we're gonna press continue. And now, depending on the distro you choose, you'll probably have various different versions of these settings, but it doesn't really matter what type of distro you choose. They're all going to be roughly the same. It might ask you if you want like special apps and stuff to be already downloaded, like if you want something like VLC to already be installed, which lets you play back videos and stuff. Right now we're just going to let it install. You can see this thing right here. You can click this little drop down if you want to see all of what they're doing. Might not understand it, but you can just look at it, and we're just going to wait for that to finish. All right, now the install is finished, and we're going to go ahead and restart, and this will restart the computer and it will boot back into the official Linux Mint install. It's asking us to remove the installation medium, which is the USB drive, and I'm going to remove it, press enter, and we should go ahead and reboot into Linux. And we're just going to press enter. You know, in my experience, Linux Mint does take a lot longer to boot than Windows or something else. So be prepared to wait a couple minutes for it to boot up. But once it's up, and it takes about 5 or 10 minutes to get fully going. But after you have that, it works pretty good. All right, now we are in Linux. It's gonna tell you a few things to start up, to get everything right and stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.